Hey everyone, it's Lars and the Multi-Purpose Racer 2.0 sitting behind me, and it's time to get this suspension finished. Now, in the previous video, I showed you all the SuperPro bushings that we were going to install on the car, and I even made a video on how to install all those pieces. If you want to check out on how I did that, hit that link right there. That'll bounce you over to my YouTube page, and you can check out the full-length video on how I did it. I couldn't compress it into 3 minutes, so I said, well, I'll leave it up there, and if you want to check it out, cool. The big reason for this video, and even this one's going to run a little bit long at like 6 or 7 minutes, so I hope you bear with me, is that I really wanted to show you the comparison between the OE rubber bushings and why I'm upgrading to the SuperPro urethane bushings. So let's go out to the back of this car and check it out. Okay, so now that we got all the bushings pressed in place, I'm now underneath the back of our Multi-Purpose Racer 2.0, and I wanted to show you the big reason why I am upgrading to the SuperPro urethane bushings. Now this is the right rear suspension, and this is as it came from the factory, so we've got stock bushings and stuff like that. Now I've unbolted the rear trailing arm from our lateral links to kind of show you what I've got going on. So basically, as you can see here, I'm going to pull down on these suspension links and push up, and they're fighting me. They want to return back to right back to that home position, so upper one and lower one. So that means that these are tight, and I can tell you, put a wrench on them for you to prove that they're tight. That's exactly the way they came. It's tight up there. And even the trailing arm right here has got the 25 pounds of, or plus pounds of rotor, bearing assembly, caliper, all that stuff. You can see that's sitting here hovering above the ground. And the reason it's doing that is these bushings, they are again clamped on the outside diameter by the control arm, and then the inside race is clamped and pinched in between the subframe or the trailing arm assembly. So that rubber bushing wants to twist on itself, right? And rubber wants to return back to its home position. That's why it's doing this. Well, why is that bad? Well, we have our spring here, and it sits under here in this location, right? Like that. Now, when the suspension compresses, it means it goes this way, and it compresses all up here in the fender well. The spring has a certain spring rate. It's, say, let's just for example 100 pounds per square inch. So every inch it compresses, it increases 100 pounds. Well, your shock is calibrated to that spring rate. Well, these bushings, as you press 1 inch, they resist an added amount of spring weight. Go another inch, they add even more. Go even more, they add even more. I'm pushing pretty hard trying to get that suspension link to go up there. The bottom one does the exact same thing. This bushing up here does the exact same thing. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bushings adding spring weight to this spring, pushing back down, causing the shock absorber to have to work exponentially times harder to try to control this back suspension from moving too much. So why do we move to urethane bushings? Well, okay, here's the contrast. Now I've got the other links with the bushings already pressed in on the other side of the car, so let's take a look and see what happens when you go the other way. Okay, so now we have our other side here. Now, and to make sure that we're square, these are tight too. Tight, tight. Don't worry, I'm not going to pull the car over on me. Okay, good, right? So now these links have got all the urethane bushings pressed in place. As you can see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as you can see, these links just move. Gravity pulls them down. This one, it's got a little bit more resistance up here, but that's just because of friction between the bushing face and the pinch. It's not because of anything else. So it still moves pretty freely, a lot more free than the other one. You can see I can hold it up here, no problem. Now the control arm too, look at this. It's just sitting here swinging out of the way, and it has the heavy weight of the rotor, caliper, and bearing assembly removed. So this is the big reason why I'm using the urethane bushings from SuperPro, is because now our spring is the only thing resisting the suspension movement, and our shock absorber that's designed to work with this spring is going to be able to do its job much more efficiently. And when it can do its job much more efficiently, then we've increased the performance of the suspension, and when you increase the performance of the suspension, the results are you are going to be able to go faster for wherever you're driving, especially on track. So There it is. We've got our installation, we've got our reasoning, and now I've got to put everything back together so I can get this thing back on the ground and we can move forward. So I wanted to throw a huge thank you out to SuperPro for staying involved in the project. I'm super stoked to be using their stuff. Yeah, so if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave them below. I will get to them as soon as I can. As always, hit that subscribe button, like, follow, share. It helps me out tremendously. And yeah, I've got a ton of work to do, so I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for joining me this time. We'll see you soon, and we'll see you at the racetrack. Take care, everyone.